Okay, students, I'm going to go ahead and work out your problems from your Chapter 1 practice test. Nick and Matt are the partners in a local health food store. They need $73,000 to start the business. They invested in the ratio of 3 to 7, Nick to Matt. So this is important. It tells you the order. Nick is first. He had 3 parts. Matt had 7 parts, so a total of 10 parts. Okay, so Nick, 3/10, Matt, 7/10. Okay, so how much did each invest? Well, so 3/10 is 0.3. So for A here, Nick, 0.3, 3/10 times 73,000, which equals, you get 3 zeros here at the end. 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 7 is 21. And move the decimal place over 1 place, right there. So 21,900 for Nick, and for Matt, he did 7/10 of the 73,000. So you have 0, 0, 0. 7 times 3 is 21. Add the 2, 49, 51, and over 1 place. So he had 51,100. Okay. B, what percent of the business was owned by Matt? Well, we already have the fraction right here. We just change that to percent. 7/10 equals 70%, and it said nearest tenth, so I have to go 0.0. Don't forget 0.0 if it happens to be. Now, there's a good chance yours might not come out to be like that, and you just round the nearest tenth, but this was exactly 70, so you still, but it said nearest tenth, so you still need to put a 0 on there, following directions. All right, number 2. Tom purchased shares of DuPont for $47.65 per share. He plans to sell the shares when the stock price rises 20%. At what price will he sell the shares? Well, right now, it's worth $47.65. We want it to go up 20%. This is 1x, so if I add 20% to that, that's 1.2x. Okay, so 1.2 times 47.65. Okay, let me bring up the calculator here. Okay, so 1.2 times 47.65 equals $57.18. There's our answer for that one. You always round to the nearest hundredth, okay, because dollars and cents is in hundreds. Okay, that's 2. 3, the top 3 shareholders in a certain corporation each own S shares of a certain stock. The corporation's ownership is represented by a total of X shares of stock. Express the percent of the corporation owned by the top 3 shareholders algebraically. So each of the top 3 expresses the percent of the corporation owned by the top 3, not each one, but the total of the top 3. So each one owns S shares. So it's S plus S plus S, 3S. Okay. That's how many total shares they own. And the total, as it says, the corporation's ownership is represented by a total of X shares. So out of X shares. Now it says express the percent. Okay, so when I do 3S divided by X, that's going to give me the decimal. And how do I change the decimal to percent? Multiply by 100. And so there's your answer right there. Okay, number 4. Marilyn purchased 2,000 shares of stock for $25.43 per share. She sold them for $44.10 per share. Express her capital gain to the nearest tenth again of a percent. Okay, so we're talking about percentages here for capital gain. Remember, that is new minus old divided by old. Okay, that's going to give us a decimal, and then we have to multiply that by 100. So 44 new minus the old divided by the old. And then we take that answer and multiply by 100 to change it to 2%. All right, so let's bring up the calculator again. 44.1 minus 25.43 equals divided by 25.43 equals. Okay, there's my decimal. I'm going to move it 2 places to the right. 1, 2, 73.4%. 73.4%. That's awesome. Okay. A local hairdresser bought 450 shares of Cosmetics Corporation for $33.50 a share. He sold the shares for $39.01 per share. What was the percent increase in the price per share? Okay, that's just like we had just done before. New minus old over old, and then times 100, change it to a percent because we want the percent. Round to nearest tenth again, so that's going to be how it is on the test as well, since it's been here. So we have 39.01 minus 33.5 all over the old is 33.5 times 100. So bring it up on the calculator. 39.01 minus 33.5, and then divided by 33.5. Okay, that is 16.4%. B, what was the total purchase price for the 450 shares? Well, remember, she bought it at $33.50 a share times how many shares? 450. That's going to be the total purchase price. Okay. Now, because we haven't got into the cost of paying a broker yet, we haven't got to that section yet. So you usually have that as well. Okay, so let's just put that in the calculator. Okay, 33.5 times 450 equals $15,075, right? Yes, $15,075. Okay, let's change the color. C says, what was the total selling price? So that's 450 shares. The shares hasn't changed, but she sold it at 39.01, or he whatever he sold. So 39.01. And just put that in the calculator. 39.01 times 450 equals 17,554. Was it 554 or 544? 554.50 cents. Okay. D, what was the percent capital gain for the 450 shares? Round to the nearest. Okay, so that question is the same as A, really. So that's 16.4%. It's just another way of asking that. Okay. All right, next one. 60. Deanna purchased $24,000 worth of stock and paid her broker 1% broker fee. She sold the stock when it increased to $29,100. 3 years later, and used a discount broker, charged $35 per trade. Computer net proceeds after the broker fees were taken out. So 24,000 plus 1% of 24,000. That's how much she had to pay to get in. And then she sold it. So let's just do that. That's going over two places. So it's $240. So $24,240. Okay, when she sold it at 29,100, but then she had to pay $35 for the trader discount broker. So she's not getting 29,100. She is getting that minus 100 would be 29,065. Okay, because she had to pay $35 to the broker. So now we go ahead and take and subtract those two numbers. 29,065 minus 24,240. Okay, 5, 2, 8, $4,825. Okay. All right, number 7. The Boodle Corporation paid Leslie a quarterly dividend. Quarterly, it's 4 times a year. Check for $828. So 828 times 4. Leslie owns 450 shares of Boodle. What was the quarterly dividend? What was the quarterly dividend for 1 share of Boodle? Oh, okay. So $828 she got is what she got for 450 shares. So for 1 share, we have to divide that by how many shares she had, 450. Put that in a calculator. 828 divided by 450. $1.84. Okay, number 8. Aaron owned X shares of the corporation and received an annual dividend of Y dollars. That's the dividend. Okay, express the quarterly dividend. Okay, so here, that's the annual dividend of Y dollars, right? That's for the whole year, but they want the quarterly dividend. So that means I have to divide the Y dollars divided by 4. Okay, that's going to be now is the quarterly dividend. And that's for all the total amount for quarterly, but then we have to divide that by the number of shares. Okay, because we want it for 1 share. And so there's my algebraic expression, Y divided by 4 over X. Okay, number 9, the Zyco Corporation pays an annual dividend of $2.10 per share. Annual, again, you got to pay attention annual versus quarterly or semi-annually. On Tuesday, it closed at $72 per share with a net change of 95 cents. That means the dividend remained at $2.10 for several months. What was the yield on Tuesday? So it closed at $72 per share on Tuesday. Okay, so we're taking the dividend, $2.10 divided by the price per share of that day, 72 cents of $72. Okay, rounds to nearest 1/10 of a percent, and then we can take that and multiply by 100. Okay, so $2.10 divided by 72 times 100 is 2.9%, because it's nearest tenth, as it says there. At what price, B, at what price did Zyco close on Monday? So it went up 95 cents on Tuesday. I subtract 95 cents from the 72, which gives me 71.05. And C, what was the yield at Monday's close? So now we do the same idea, except for it's $2.10 divided by 71.05 times 100, change it 2%. Okay, so 2.1 divided by 71.05 equals times 100, change it 2%. 2.95, which is going to round up to 3%, right? We're going to the nearest tenth, so 3.0%. Okay, next, number 10. Okay, so here we've got a lot of questions here. I'll see if I can squeeze them in here off to the side. What's the difference between the 52-week high and 52-week low for one share of AT&T? So we go to AT&T right here. High minus low, so 42.97. I'm not going to write it down. I'm just going to put it in the calculator and tell you verbally. 42.97 minus 32.95. $10.02. What was the difference between the day's high and low for one share of Southern Copper? So here's Southern Copper. Let's change the color. Go blue this time. So here's Southern Copper. You got to find that first. The difference between the day's high and low. Okay. So let me move this. High and low is right here. So we subtract those two numbers. Okay. So let's move this over to this side so you can see 110.68 minus 105.68. That is $5. I should have just done it in my head. Okay, that's B. Which stock had a close that was furthest from the day's low? So we're looking at these. The day's low right there. Okay. And it says which stock had a close. Remember, the close is the last. And it says which close had the furthest from the day's low. So this difference in the first one is about $3.20. Okay. So $3.20. This is just $1. This was almost $8. So this is the biggest. Oh, sorry, I'm subtracting the wrong one here. Okay, so here we have basically $3. This one is almost even 2 cents. Here, this is $6, and this one was $2. So the difference, the biggest difference is right here. So it says which stock? ITT, or you can say symbol. You can just use a symbol ESI, or say that, or say ITT Ed Services. Determine the close on June 19th. So first off, we have to see what day this is. This is June 20th. So we're going to have to use the change to go back and use the last and the change and do the opposite operation of the change here. Okay, to get June 19th's close. Okay, so it says which stock had a close. No, that was C. Where we did that. Determine the close on June 19th for JP Morgan Chase. Do a different color. Where my, here we go, right here. Go red this time. So we're doing JP Morgan Chase now. And since it went down, we add 79 cents to it to get the close the day before. So 5, 6, 38, 65. 38, 65. That was D. How many shares of ITT? Let's erase this now so we see everything clearer now. And we'll put that right about there. How many shares of ITT were traded on June 20th? That's where we look at the sales. Remember, this tells me I take this number times 100 for the actual sales. Don't forget that you have to pay attention when it says hundreds or thousands, for example. It's usually one of those two. How many shares of ITT? ITT is this one. So I take this number and multiply it by 100, which means move the decimal place 2 places to the right. So we have 3, 4, 2, 9. Now 2 places to the right, it'll be 5 and a 0. 342,950. For that one. What was the percent net change? Okay. From June 19th to the 20th for AT&T. Okay, that's our new minus old divided by old. Okay, well, the net is the new minus the old. The net change here is new minus old, and we're going to put it divided by old. So for AT&T, right here. Okay, so new minus old is the 72 cents went down 72 cents. So you're going to have, I'm going to write over here, 72 cents, new minus old, and then the old, which is the day before. Now, don't forget, we have to use that net change and add it to, so we're adding 72 cents right there, which puts it at 35.15. Okay, put that on a calculator. 0.72 divided by 35.15, and then times 100 to change it to percent. 2, and we're rounding to, was it the nearest tenth, I'm guessing, I think. Oh no, the nearest hundredth of a percent. So 2.05 would be my answer then. Okay. 2 point, and since it went down, you can throw the negative in there because it went down, remember, 72 cents. I'll throw the negative sign in there. That's percent. All right, which stock had a day's high that was approximately 30% less than its 52-week high? 30% less, which would be 70% of the high. So we would take each of these and multiply by 0.7 times 0.7 times 0.7 times 0.7. And see and compare that to the high over here. We'll be comparing those answers to this column right now and see which one comes out to be about that. Once we find that, we're done. Okay, so let's move this to the middle so we can see here. Where's my clear there? Okay. So 143.25 times 0.7 equals 100. Okay, so 110, that's too far off, so that's not going to be it. 42.97 times 0.7 is $30. That's $5 off, so that's not going to be it. 131.82 times 0.7. 92.27. That's not bad. That's so far it's the closest. It's only $2 off. So that's $2 off. Well, let's try the last one here. See if it's closer. 50.48 times 0.7. 35.33. That is $4 off. So this was the closest at $2 off. Okay, so that would be our answer, which is ITT Ed Services, or the ESI. Okay, and ITT Ed Services. All right, last one. On June 19th, there were 59,945,400 shares of JPM traded. What was the difference in the number of shares traded from June 19th to June 20th? So there we know June 19th, and then on this one we can get June 20th, and this is of which JPM. So look at this one. Traded on JPM is that times 100. Okay, so we're just adding 2 zeros to it. $55,300,000. Okay, so now I just put that in the calculator. Let's move it over here. And remember, difference means subtraction. So 59,945,400 minus 55,377,200. 4,568,200. Okay, and there's that answer. All right, that took a little while. You won't have that many from one thing on your test. So for example, if I chose to do something like that, instead of having A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I might have you just do 4 of those. I just would pick 4 of them, for example. Okay, I wouldn't have you do all of them, just so you know. That would take too long for one problem, for a test. Okay, use a stock bar chart to answer the questions below. Remember, on the left side is the opening. The right side is the close. Open, close. And then the blue represents the high and the low for that day. Okay, so this would be the high. This would be the low. Okay, and down here's volume again for amount sold, and we pay attention right there, and each one of these is times 1,000,000. So this would be 500,000, 1,000,000, 1.5 million, and 2 million on those particular days. What was the days open on June 17th? So you go find June 17th. The open is right there. Okay, so that's almost halfway up. So halfway would be 49.75. We'll say 49.65. It's just an estimate here. Okay, if you're close, you get it. What was the approximate difference? Remember, difference means subtraction between the days high and low on June 18th. So now we go to June 18th. We'll change the color. We'll go green. And again, we're going to now subtract between the days high and low on June 18th. So the high was about 49.5. And the low is about 48.5. Okay, so about $1. Okay, now if you put 95 cents, I'd give you that too. Okay, because we're just getting real close. Okay. Next one. On what day was the close also the day's low? And that would be this right here. Remember, here's the low, here's the close. So that's June 20th. And write the approximate volume. So here's the volume. Remember, that's in millions for June 19th. That's about exactly halfway. So 0.75 times 1,000,000. So that'd be 750,000. Okay. Hopefully that answers everything there. Okay, let's go to the next one. Use the candlestick chart to answer the questions below. Okay. red tells me negative. It went down. Okay, this was the high, low for the day. It went down. So then this would have been an opening. This would have been a close. Okay. Now green would represent positive. So then this would have been the opening down here if it was green, and this would have been the close up there if it was green, but it's red, so it means negative. What was the approximate low on June 20th? So this must be for June 20th. Okay, yes, here we go, June 20th right there. The approximate low on June 20th. So we look at this right here, $24 compared to $24.25. That's exactly halfway, so we'll say $24.13. What was the approximate high on this date? That's almost exactly halfway, so about $24.62. What's the difference between the opening price and the close? So we take these two and subtract. So the opening was about 24. Okay, that would have been 62. So it's about 24.55 minus 24, say. Okay, so that's 25, let's say, and then this is 12, so about 24.20. Subtract that, and that's about 35 cents. Okay, you write 0.35 with a dollar sign, or 35 cents right there. In D, what does the red candlestick color indicate? That it went down for the day. Okay, so price of stock went down for the day. Okay, another way of saying that is the opening price was higher than the closing price. If you want to write it like that as well. All right, next one. Lee owns 800 shares of ABC Incorporated. On April 6th, the corporation instituted a 5-for-2 stock split. Before the split, each share was worth $42.60. How many shares does Leah hold after the split? So you take that 800, so A, 800 times 5 halves, which is also 2.5. So we have 800 times 2.5, 2,000 shares is how much she now holds. B, what was the post-split? Post means after split price per share. So originally, before the split is $42.60. Remember, since she's increasing in shares, the price per share has to go down. So we're multiplying by the reciprocal. $42.60 times 2/5, or 0.4. 2/5 is 0.4. So 0.4 times 42.6. $17.04. Okay, show that the split was a monetary non-event. Okay, that means that it didn't go up or down. So C means if I do $42.60 times 800, that should equal the 2,000 shares that she now has times the $17.04 that each one is worth. So now you just put each in your calculator and show that you get the same number. That's what that means. So 42.6 times 800 is 34,000. What was that again? $80. I should get the same thing now. I do this. 2,000 times 17 point. Oops. Can I go back? I don't think so. Okay. 2,000 times 17.04. 28,000. Oh, let's type it in right. 2,000 times 17.04. 34,080. Okay, you should get the same if you did it right. That's how you check that both of these answers right here are right. If I multiply them together, I should get exactly what the original value was. Okay, that's what you're doing that for, a check. That's your check. All right, Gene owns 1,200 shares of XYZ or XYX Corporation. The company instituted a 1-for-10 reverse stock split. Okay, so it went down 10 shares per divided by 10. Okay, so 1/10. The pre-split market price share, so before the split, was $1.20. Okay, how many shares did Gene hold after the split? So that means I'm taking the 1,200 and dividing by 10, which is the same thing as multiplying by 1/10. And when I divide by 10, I just move the decimal one place over. So 120 shares. B, what was the post-split price? So that means that since the shares went down, the price has to go up. So that means multiply by 10. So that means move the decimal one place to the right. Okay, so if I was to show that work, 1.2 times 10, which then is $12 a share. And C, show that it was a non-monetary event, so that's the same thing as before. So we have 1,200 times $1.20. That should equal 120 times 12. Okay. So 12 times 12 is 144, and I have 1 2 zeros there, but then I'm going over 2 places, so $144. Oh, I'm only going over 1 place because I didn't use that 0. I used it as 1.2. Oops. So 1,014 is 40, and then here 12 times 12 is 144, and add a 0 onto it, 1,440. You can put in a calculator to check. All right, next one. Now this is reading the ticker correctly. Nick bought some shares at Ford Motor Company, F. So we're looking at the F one right here for 17. How many shares did Nick buy? Okay, so we have 0.67 times K means 1,000. And so that means move the decimal 3 places to the right, so it's 670. How much did each share cost? At $5.01 per share. What was the value of Nick's trade? So I'd take those two numbers and multiply them together. Let's move it over here. So I have 670 times 5.01. 3,300. Oops, I lost. $56, $3,356.70. Patrick sold shares of AT&T. So now we're looking at AT&T. We'll change the color. We'll go blue. AT&T. Where am I seeing? Which is the T. So the T is right here. This one right here. How many shares did he sell? Okay. Sold his shares. How many shares did he sell? Remember, this is for one transaction. So he said 1.6 times 1,000. 1.6 times 1,000. Means 3 places to the left. I mean to the right. That's 1 plus 2 zeros, 1,600 shares. How much did he sell for? $26.14. Notice that it went down $1.08 from the day before. Remember, that's what that down arrow is for. It went down from the day before, or from the last trade, actually. Last transaction went down $1, not from the day before, from the last transaction. Went down $1.08, so he decided to sell. Based on Patrick's sell, what was the closing price of T on the previous trading day? Okay, so this is for the previous trading day, not just the previous transaction. So it went down $1.08. So that means there's $1.08 higher. Therefore, so we have 26.14 plus $1.08, which then is $27.22. Okay, number, that was 18, yes. Well, am I seeing? That is 17 on here. Nick bought some. Okay, that's showing 67. Okay, so this book was just different right there. Okay. All right. Next one. Last one, 19. The stock in Real Estate Corporation was selling for $78 per share with an annual dividend of $1.86. It underwent a 3-for-2 split. What was the value of one share of the stock after the split? So it went 3-for-2. So we are multiplying the $78 times its reciprocal, 2-for-3. 3 goes into 78 26 times. 26 times 2 is $52 evenly. What was the annual dividend after the split? Okay, so since the number of shares went up, oh, wait a sec. What was the value of one share? I was selling $78 per share. Yes. So yes, it went down, okay, to $52 per share. And then what was the annual dividend after the split? So again, that's going to be, you have more shares, so that price has to go down. So again, that means I'm going to multiply 186 times 2/3. Okay, you can put that in your calculator. So 1.86 times, do we have a parentheses? We don't, okay. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Divided by 3 equals that times 2. There's my 2/3. $1.24. That's how with a basic calculator, that's how you end up having to do that. Right there, okay? That goes ahead and answers all of our questions. Took, well, 43 minutes, but you got them all.